Alright, welcome back. This is my video on Druid. I'm going to warn you, I have a bit of a cough right now. I had to restart the video twice because in Taiwan right now, it's winter, so my body, to protect myself from, to inoculate myself from being around kids all the time who are little disease monsters, it ends up making me sick, so like a little bit sick. So I will always have a bit of a sickness here, and that way I will never actually get really sick. So if I have to stop here, if I have to cough, I apologize for that in advance. So anyways, looking at the Druid cards here. So the Druid cards, I think, are the third best in the set outside of Mage and Rogue. Mage and Warlock. Because the Druid cards, a lot of them are independently powerful. So like Savage Striker becomes a lot more powerful with Pounce, but it's still a 2-mana 2/3. Like Ironhide Direhorn, whenever overkill, summon a 5/5 run. If it hits, it's insane value. So and if it doesn't, it's still a body, right? All right, I can just use this. So a lot of these cards, like Mark of the Loa, is independently powerful. So I think because of that independent power and that most of them are actual good cards, that I think these will be good cards for Arena. So I'll start with Rarity here. So Pounce. 0 mana, deal 2, backstab. We know how good backstab is. So that it can go face, that it can activate the Savage Striker, kind of makes up for the fact that it can't get through, or that it can damage, that it can hit damaged minions. Kind of makes up for the fact that it can't go through taunts. So overall, with this card, I feel it's a very good card, and I would put it here in the top of the second bucket. So as I mentioned before, I don't agree with a lot of the things the Bucketing Blizzard has done. Like here, I would have Tortolan Forager, Druid of the Claw, and Ancient of War. And then I would have Power of the Wild over all the way up here in the bottom of the first bucket. So because of that, I would put that here. Savage Striker, it's 2 mana 2/3, but it has a powerful upside. It reminds me in many ways of a rogue card, Undercity Valiant, which was so good that it got banned in Arena during the first card ban waves, which was a 3 mana 3/2 combo, deal 1 damage. So this is a 2 mana 2/3 hero power, deal 1 damage. And as I mentioned, it's like a Fire Plume Phoenix that can split its ping. So overall, I feel Savage Striker is a powerful card. It's going to be real strong in some situations. So overall, I feel that I would put it here in the bottom of the second bucket. All right, where's the other one here? Ironhide Direhorn. So the problem with Ironhide Direhorn is that it's still a 7 mana 7/7. If a rogue plays Walk the Plank and kills this, they gain 3 tempo from it. Like, this is a slow card. Like, the overkill effect is a slow effect because it takes 2 turns for that effect to happen, at the very least. And like maybe you can get it out with the Stampeding Roar, but overall, I feel a lot of people I've seen are just like, they are so scared of this card. And me personally, I don't think this card is really all that scary. Like, I think it's good, but I'd easily rather have an Ancient of War over it, because people can ignore this card. People can just decide not to trade into this card and go face. And 1 second. That might mean that you get a 5/5 on the board, but still, people can just ignore this card. So I would put it in the bottom of the second bucket because of how powerful it is when it hits, but I don't think this is going to be all that dangerous. Okay, going on to rares. Mark of the Loa, give a minion +2/+4. +2/+4 is about the ideal stats that you want for trading up, because it like if you have +1/+1 or +2/+2. Like if I play +2/+2 Mark of the Wild on a 3/3, and I trade into a 3/5, I'll end up with a 5/2. But a 5/4, on the other hand, is significantly better than a 5/2 at sticking on the board. And having taunt means a lot, which means that you can use it defensively instead of just preemptively. Like one of the old problems with Blessing of Kings was that if you just preemptively put it, sorry, I mean, you can use it preemptively instead of actively is what I meant to say. One of the problems with Blessing of Kings was sometimes you wouldn't have something to put Blessing of Kings on. So you would put it on a minion preemptively just so you could have something to put it on, and then you'd lose 2 cards for 1. Here, you can put it on something, and because of that taunt, it means that unless like they have a hard removal, then they have to deal with that taunt. And then on top of that, you can summon 2 3/2 Raptors. Summoning 2 3/2 Raptors is pretty good when you don't have anything on the board. It's good when you need to spread. It's good when you need to set up a Savage Roar or a Branching Paths for lethal. And as I mentioned, it's good when you have nothing on board. Having those options, I think this is the best card that Druid got this set. I would put this card in the bottom of the first bucket because that's, I think, how powerful it is. I think comparatively, I would rather have this than a Blessing of Kings, definitely. All right, over here. Spirit of the Rafter, stealth for 1 turn. After hero attacks and kills a minion, draw a card. So you will kill minions with your hero power. That's going to happen. The question is, after you kill minions, let me rephrase that. The question is like, how many times is this going to proc? So, like, I think you'll get it to proc 1 time. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get it to proc 2 times. So it's like 1 mana, situationally draw a card, maybe draw 2 cards. 1 second. So, and obviously this is good to be hit with something like a Mark of the Loa or just a Mark of the Wild on 2. So overall, I think it's a good card. It's definitely one of the better spirits, but I don't think it's really that great. I would put it over here in the bottom of the 4th bucket so you can see kind of cards around it. Ironbark Protector, Ironbark Golem, Verdant Longneck, Greedy Spite. These are all solid cards, but none of them are really like super strong cards. And that's what I feel the Spirit of Raptor is. Just a solid card, not a super strong card. Predatory Instincts. Draw a beast from your deck, double its health. For this to be at average value, you need to hit a beast that has 6 or more health. There are not that many beasts that have 6 or more health. Now, a lot of them are pretty powerful. So let me see here. I wrote down my list somewhere around here of the beasts that have 6 or more health. So Threshodon, Mastodon, Giant Mastodon, Violet Worm, Ironhide are all good beasts with that. Charged Devilsaur as well. So those with this would be okay, because you're still spending 4 mana to draw a card. And then likely you can't even play it. Like unless you have like a nesting rock, then you play this, and maybe your rock has taunt. That's one option. But because, and the other problem though is that you need only giant beasts. So if you take like a Bloodfen Raptor, you play Bloodfen Raptor and you get buffed by this, your Bloodfen Raptor is a 2 mana 3/4. You're like that's 6 mana to play a 3/4 and thin your card by a deck, and that's bad. So overall, I feel this is not a great card. I think it has potential, but I would put it in the, hold on, let me get to here. I would put it in the bottom of the 7th bucket. Like I feel it has a little potential, but I think that potential requires so much of a deck that builds around it, as well as requires the time to be able to use it, that I don't think it's going to be a good card in Arena. Going on to the Epis. Tree Speaker. You're not going to get Treants. Like most of the Treant cards are over bucketed, and until they bring back Soul of the Forest, which, if you haven't read Arena HS, Ixar said that they are planning to bring back those cards that were banned. One of them was Soul of the Forest. So until that happens, this is so rarely going to work. Now, there is the theoretical combo. You play Witchwood Apple. Witchwood Apple? Witch's Apple? Witchwood Apple. You play Witchwood Apple, 2 mana card, puts 3 2/2 treants in your hand. And then you play the 3 treants, you play this, and you have 9/9, summon 3 5/5s and a 4/4. Maybe you'll get that to work. And then maybe you'll just be stuck with Witchwood Apple, which is a 7th bucket card for good reason. And maybe you won't have the apple and you only have a 5 mana 4/4, which is a bad card. So yeah, ultimately, bottom of the 7th bucket, combo's not going to go off. Let's see here, Stampeding Roar. So for it to go off, you just need a big beast in hand. So it's a 2-card combo, which is not really that bad. And you'll probably save 1 mana or 2 mana from it, which again is not really that bad. So you cheat out, it's kind of like an Innervate and a Rush effect. But as I said, you're only saving a couple mana from it, and the Rush effect, unless you're hitting like the Dire Horn, where you're summoning a 5/5, then it's not really that powerful of an effect. Like, yeah, you can develop and you can kill something, but ultimately you're spending this card to give your minion rush and to kill something. So, like, let's say you play this on a Threshodon, and you have your Threshodon trade into a 5/5. You spent 6 mana and 1 card to kill a 5/5, and then play a 5/2 that death rattles into 3/1/1s. So, insane tempo? Yes. Insane value? Insane value? Not really. Like, people can then deal with the 5/2, and like they'll have to invest the card, but you're not really that far ahead because you're spending 2 cards to deal damage. Like, I'm not sure if that was easy or hard to follow. But I think that's the problem with like a lot of the cards that say give a minion rush, where you have to spend multiple cards, so you're not really gaining that all that much outside of a little bit of tempo. So ultimately, I think it will hit and it will possibly win games, but I don't think that this is all that great of a card. I would put this card the top of the 7th bucket here, because I think it's a lot more. It will hit a lot more than say the Predatory Instincts, and it'll be a lot more impactful, but I don't think it's going to be all that great. All right, legendaries. So 2 of them first here. First one, Gronk the Raptor. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, it may attack again. So first off, stats here. 13 stats for 7, poor effect. Your hero attacks a minion and kills again. Unless there are a bunch of 1/1s on the board, which does happen, then it's really going to be you deal like an extra damage phase. Maybe you can combo this with like the attack buff cards, but I would not draft a deck. I would not give up a legendary just for the chance of that effect. So ultimately, because like 4/9 is okay, the effect itself is okay, I would put it a below average card. I would say bottom of the 2nd bucket. By the way, for reference, the legendary cards only have 3 buckets. Let me pull this up here. So like the bottom of the 2nd bucket, it's like Splintergraph, Tyrantus, Hadronox, kind of like situational cards. And then like over here, you can see these are cards that are just bad in Arena. So Gronk, I would say bottom of the 2nd bucket. I think it's not unplayable, but it's not really all that great. Last one, War Druid Lodi. Transform into one of Lodi's 4 dinosaur forms. So if you're unaware, the 4 forms, Blizzard unfortunately does not have these up here. They are, let me see, this Toast have them up here. Like, I'm going to look up the Sky's Toast. The Sky's Toast here, Rhastakhan Rumble. Okay, I can't cannot make these bigger, but hopefully you can see the cards here. So the 4 forms: 3 mana 1/2 poisonous stealth. It's a giant wasp. 3 mana 1/4 spell damage +1. If you got a Starfall, you got a swipe. This is absolutely insane, so it will be useful. 3 mana 4/2 rush. This is Druid of the Scythe, so better than that. 3 mana 1/6 taunt. This is kind of like a Crypt Lord. So you see, like 2 of these cards are cards that are already good. 3 of these, because Wasp was heavily underbucketed, and then 1 is situational. But because you got the other 3, you can afford the situationalness of it. So War Druid Lodi, I think ultimately it's not gonna be a great card. Like it's not gonna be an overpowered card, but it's going to be a very, very solid card. So I would ultimately put it in the top of the second bucket in Druid. Sorry, legendaries here. Second bucket, I would put it here like with Cenarius and Ixalan, where it's a really solid card, but it's not one of these like win you the game kind of cards. I think it's good, but I don't think it's great. All right. Again, I apologize for the coughing for this. I am going to turn off my AC. I'll see if it's like the AC is dirty, and then that's what's causing me to cough, because it just started happening 5 minutes ago where I began coughing. So anyways, I'll continue, and I will see you guys in Hunter.